Be back in north central Wisconsin, and really we're highlighting how Wisconsin is working, and we want to keep Wisconsin moving forward. We're on a 21 city bus tour. It started yesterday and making our way around the state all the way through Monday night, right before the primary. I'm specifically asking people for their vote this Tuesday. A lot of folks don't know it, but I have a primary election. There's someone on the ballot besides me on the Republican side, so I need people's vote this Tuesday. And then obviously, again, I'm asking for the vote, assuming we win, on November 6th. And it's really part of a contrast. We've got a game plan to keep moving Wisconsin forward. Before I was governor, unemployment was at 9.3%. People were leaving the state because jobs were fleeing the state. Our graduates, many of them were going to other places to find a pathway to their career. Today, there are more career opportunities for graduates and others in the state than there are physically people in the state. And so we want to keep it going. We want to keep moving forward. We want to keep our graduates here. We want to attract more millennials here, more veterans here. We make it easier for our senior citizens to retire here and hopefully mentor the next workforce here in the state of Wisconsin. We want to make sure that every one of our students graduates, and then ideally they graduate with a game plan for their career path going forward. We want to make it easier for families, working families, to make ends meet. And we particularly want to make it easier and more affordable for senior citizens to stay in their home. All that's a part of our game plan, as I mentioned to the crowd. In addition to that, little did we know that this would become a defining issue in the campaign, but several of my opponents, including Tony Evers, Kel DeRoy's, and others, have said that they would support a plan to cut the prison population by 50%. Today in Wisconsin, 2/3 of all the inmates are in for violent offenses. If that were to happen today, that would obviously mean thousands of serious violent criminals out on the streets. And I, for one, as long as I'm governor, is going to make sure that every violent criminal in this state sentenced to prison stays in prison for their entire sentence, as opposed to my opponents who arguably want to let them out early. I think the best way to prison reform is to get them training and education while in prison before the end of their sentence, so that when they get out, there's plenty of great jobs and career opportunities for them, so they never return again. But that's just part of the contrast. Overall, the biggest thing I think difference is graduates, our kids and our grandkids were leaving the state before we took office. They're now coming back again. Careers are coming back again. More people working than ever before. And for those of us who want to keep going in that direction, I'm asking for the vote. Other questions?
All right. So Ed Hall released a book today on ethical and essentially said you and Attorney General Brad Sherrill led him to the brink of suicide. Would you like to comment on that?
Well, I think overall, not just on that, but I think it's sad and somewhat pathetic that someone who was fired from his job at the Department of Justice for encouraging another employee to break the law, to break the open records law in this state, would continue the lies and deceptions. And so I'm hopeful he's getting help for whatever issues he's going through. But in the end, he was fired because he specifically asked a state employee to violate the state open records law. That's unacceptable in this state.
Anything else on the release of the book?
Well, overall, I think he was probably clearly advised to come up with the most controversial and elaborate stories possible. Again, I think when you look at it and say this was someone who told a state employee to violate the open records laws, and again, I just think it's sad and pathetic that someone who did that was terminated and didn't just lose his job because of that. Both the Wisconsin Employment Relations Commission and a circuit court judge in Dane County upheld that because they found it was for just cause that he was terminated because of encouraging someone to violate the open records law. To me, you got to keep that in mind when judging the things he's saying.
So just to be clear, your side of the story is he was in violation, right?
Well, not only our side of the story, he's never challenged that himself. That's not been a part of the challenge. No one has ever denied, to my knowledge, that he told a state employee to shred a document that involved official state business. That's a direct violation of the open records law in the state of Wisconsin, and that's why he was terminated from the Department of Justice.
All right. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks. Thanks, guys.